Hello everyone, welcome to True Footy Live. Just making sure everything's good. Looks like the mic's plugged in. That's gotten me before. I've done it for the first opening minute. Muted quite a few times, but hello, welcome. How's everyone going? It is 8:40 AM here in the UK, and I'm currently waiting for some Macca's Uber Eats to arrive. Well, my roommate got it, and I was like, yes please. Hunsy, I do not approve of that nickname. Teddy reckons LDU for the Brownlow. Go Pack says sipping all the teas. No, that's not something I really do here. Yeah, I know that's the English thing to do, but I'm not a tea drinker at all. Not a tea drinker at all. Hi Lily. Hi Lucas. How's everyone going? Thought we'd do a little bit of stream. So I've been doing cricket streams lately. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm probably going to have the cricket on in the background, but this is going to be more of a footy chat. But to be honest, like when we do the cricket streams, we don't really talk that much about cricket. So I thought I'd just repackage the same thing. G'day superhero. Yeah, I'm gonna chuck the Perth game on in the background here, so I can follow along what's happening. Desync says, what made you want to move over there? The reason I moved to the UK is because I have a few mates here for a start, like really good friends. And then right before you turn 30, in Australia, like if you're under 30, you can get a 2-year visa to live in the UK very easily with the right to work. So this was the last year I could do it, which is why now. And then the pandemic obviously finished all the restrictions like a year or two before, a year before that. So the timing was just perfect. I was just like, if I don't go now, I never will. And ironically, even though I have the right to work here, I've only, made YouTube videos and haven't had to get a job here, which is amazing. Lucas says, up the Hawks. You think the finals, Hawks make finals or not? I am probably going to say they will not make finals. Is it possible? It is possible. But there's a lot of good contenders. I still think Hawthorn's sort of moving up, but not quite all the way into the 8. I think that would be surprising, but possible. Ismail says, do I drink Guinness? Having it in Europe ruined it for me for everyone else. Really? Is that much of a difference? I can't do Guinness, man. I really can't. Ooh, my roommate's here with my selection of drinks and foods. Thanks, buddy. That was very kind of you. Thank you. Wow, this is great. Thanks, mate. Okay, so I got some Uber Eats McDonald's, so I'm going to try and eat it in a non-gross way on the stream. Who's your surprise All-Australian this year? Oh, that's a good one, Lily. Let me think about that for a little bit longer. That's almost a video in itself. I think last year I tried to go for Blakey. Still not a bad shout. He could be All-Australian. If you see yourself in Melbourne, yeah, I think so at some point, mate. Yeah, especially if I want to do this as a career. Like I think that's on the agenda. Whether that's next year, probably. The more I think about it, I don't know. I'll probably go back to Perth for a bit, but I could definitely see myself doing a stint in Melbourne and then going back to Perth. Bailey Humphrey or Mateus Philippou? That's a good question. I like that comparison. Similar sort of players in a way, certainly in role. Tough one. I think maybe. I'm torn there. That's a really good one. Maybe the fortunes of the team will go better. Maybe Bailey Humphrey, but there's nothing. I'm really basing that on anything but gut feel. Do you think 2000 Essendon is the best AFL prime? You know what? That was before I started watching football, so I feel a little unqualified comparing that. But they only lost one game, didn't they, against the Bulldogs? So, what other teams have only lost one game? I think Collingwood only lost one game. Is that right? Maybe not Collingwood. No, I don't think Collingwood, but I think Geelong in 08. Xavier Sushi's living in Italy. Wow, that's cool. Do you speak Italian? What's your best experience? Ooh, a lot of my best experiences have been travelling outside of the UK, to be honest. But I do like it here generally. I don't know what the best experience here would have been. I just like every day here, if that makes sense. Oh, g'day, Rogie. He's, there you go. He's out doing for mates for... Oh, his birthday. Happy birthday, Rogie. I think my brain's moving a bit slow this morning. Happy birthday, Rogie. Sick. Yeah, Dacos not in the top 3 was... as I was editing it, I was like, should have gone Dacos top 3. I'll just scroll up a little bit. I missed a comment, did I? Oh, Berendorf's got him. Sorry, I am going to have the cricket on, and I will respond when the Scorchers do something good. When are the Would You Rather videos coming out? Would You Rather comes out... I pushed it back because I keep having other videos first. I think Would You Rather's now out Monday. Excuse me. Although members already have access to it. Yeah, Would You Rather. I've got a predictions video with Drewzy coming out tomorrow, and then I've got some other pre-season videos coming out Tuesday, Wednesday, I think. I haven't edited those yet. G'day, AFL GOAT. What do you think of the Green Bay Packers? I don't follow the NFL at all, actually. If you ask me what team I go for, I'm probably the Philly Eagles because of the obvious connection to West Coast. But, yeah, I don't know. You tell me. Go Packers and Magpies around the US. Nice. How did you get into football? Go Pack. 2000 Essendon didn't achieve much compared to Geelong Hawthorn Lions. That's true. But if we're talking about like what they did in one season. Does Macca's taste different over there? So far, tastes the same. The McDonald's in America was pretty good. I'll say that. But I don't think so far. But I haven't gotten to the bacon roll yet. That's cool, Xavier. What made you want to go live in Italy? That's very... What's the word? Audacious, I suppose, just because they're English second language, in theory. I'm sure they all speak English, but... Round 1, Giants, Pies. Oh, I could see it being under a goal either way, but maybe the Pies. Out of last year's bottom 6 teams from last season, who is most likely to make the top 4? I'm trying to think who the bottom 6 were. You have West Coast North, Gold Coast Hawthorn, and Fremantle. Is Essendon next? I think Gold Coast could be the most likely to make the top 4, to be honest. I know that sounds ridiculous. But I think they're more likely in potential than the others. McDonald's in Japan shits on ours. Really? That surprised me a little. Actually, why does it surprise me? I have no idea, but it's still an interesting fact. Brogy's a Philly fan. Yeah. All I really remember about Philly is that they won the Super Bowl in like 2018, and they were like, is this a omen for the Eagles? And the Eagles fucking won out of nowhere. It was sick. Who do you think had one of the best rebuilds in the last 10 years? Oh, good question. I suppose it's interesting to consider what is a successful rebuild. Wait, is that what I mean? Yeah, like, is it quality or is it how fast and efficient it happened? So, like, Melbourne and Carlton come to mind because I think they're on the right track, but it also did take them a long time. Sydney comes to mind. Adelaide's tracking okay. Do British chicks dig the accent? Yeah, they do. For the most part. I mean, not so much in London. In London, they don't really care because it's so diverse there. But here, you're a little bit more novel. Crows top 4, says Ryan. Maybe. I don't think it's beyond possibility. G'day, Freddie Supercoach. Thank you for that, mate. Appreciate it. Rogi, I got an AT 2020 Audio Technica, I think. What did you get? Got family near Venice. There you go. Ooh, Inter Milan. That's sick. That's pretty cool. What's the atmosphere like at those games? Brisbane for sure rebuild. Ah, yes, Clory, good call. I'll pay that. Yeah, it was tough going for them. I think that might even almost be my next video that I do. I've watched the Ted prequel. I didn't even know that was a thing. We're talking about Ted like Seth MacFarlane, right? Is that the Ted we're talking about? I didn't know there was a prequel. That sounds sick. Yeah, Richard, I could see Wardlaw winning the Rising Star. But I actually think McKercher might be the one. Be interesting to see if like the top two contenders are both from North. That would be wild. Jeff you English girls is somehow an exotic trait. Yeah. I am in the UK, Lucas. Brogy, is that what you bought? That's exactly what I use. Yeah. Yeah, it's a USB mic. When we do the podcast, we use the one that goes into an interface, not USB. TED TV show. Okay. So it's a TV show based on Seth MacFarlane. Yeah, right. I'll check that out. Luke, I'm not answering that. Atmosphere is like when your team scores a goal the granny set 90 minutes straight. True, dude. I thought the same thing. I went to Old Trafford and saw United Liverpool last year. That's a great way to describe it. Gus Sheldrick still eligible. I think they tend to not really give serious like votes at the end there to the guys who are like third year. So it'd have to really stand out. Sorry, I'm nearly done eating. Yeah. How far is North's rebuild in terms of making premiership run? Well, I still think a fair way because they are the youngest list and some of their best talent is like 18, 19. That's different to saying when will they improve. They'll improve quicker than that, but maybe a year or two they'll sort of be out of the bottom four. But for a premiership run, with I think 5 years at least, and obviously it's the same for West Coast, at least 5 years. Lucas says, "Bring back the mullet." I've been thinking about that, and I know that it's a bad idea. But sometimes when I go a long time without having a particular hairstyle, it's like a woman with pregnancy when she kind of forgets how bad it was. That's kind of where I get. Desync says the new cards are for Game Day Squad around Monday. Awesome. No, I mean, I haven't opened it since like the season ended. Really, I did make a BBL team and I kind of lost track of it. But yeah, new cards out Monday sounds interesting. What am I most excited for? View is McRae. Connection to small forwards. Yeah, it's funny. Those are the exact three I think I would have nominated as a non-Collingwood fan about Collingwood. Probably just because I've studied them a fair bit this off-season. For me, it's got to be seeing Reid and Hewitt and Ginby. Probably. That's about it. And hopefully just like a more reasonable injury run and we just start to play okay again. Like at least at home, I'd like us to be in the game for most of the game at home. That'd be a fair stepping start, wouldn't it? Stepping stone. I think we'll have a breakout year at the Saints. Be great to see Windhager have a breakout year. Wangani Milra will be a better player than Jack Sinclair. Ooh, I like it. Big call though, considering how good Jack Sinclair is. But Wangani Milra is very good. Thanks, Xavier Sushi. Enjoy, mate. All the best. Who do I think will kick the most goals for the Magpies? This is a great question. Would it be boring to say Myercheck? But yeah, the McInnes versus Ash Johnson battle will be another point of intrigue for sure. For sure. Yeah, I'd like to see Reef given a go, but like maybe there's room for both. Who knows? The US election. I've not followed that at all. I actually had to Google it the other day that it was still on. I'm so insulated from news at the moment. Uh, I saw a podcast with Robert Kennedy Jr. Is that who it was? Yeah, it was. And it was all about how he's going to be president. And then I googled it and said he's no longer running. I don't know. I presume the second one was a mistake. I want the boys are back. Intro thoughts. What for the streams? John says no excuse for no Gold Coast finals. Yeah, interesting. I would give him a year. I give him 1 year to click under Hardwick, and then after that, I'd say no excuses. Yeah, the reasonable injury run is going to be silly. A silly request from an Eagles fan at this point. Max Shuey says preview on dog season. Well, I've actually done a analysing team to 2024 series. The Bulldogs are the first team in that because I did it for reverse alphabetical order. So that's probably I don't know if I'd do a preview series about every individual team again, because I don't think it would have any new information there. See you, Rogie. Lily's calling Mac King 70 goals Coleman. I don't mind it. I don't think that's a terrible call, to be honest. I mean, I know you're a Saints fan, right, Lily? But I think that's possible. Who do you think the bottom 4 teams will be? This is a hard question. I think North, West Coast, and Richmond are the only ones I'm really confident. Well, I'm confident about North and Richmond. I'm less confident about Richmond, but I think it makes logical sense. And I think the 4th team is really hard to pick. It could be Hawthorn faltering. Mind you, if Hawthorn finished 4th last, they've still gone up the ladder. Fremantle, maybe. I still think Fremantle should be better. I'm not too sure yet. Any West Coast players you... G'day, Leo, by the way. Shout out. Got a couple of members in the chat as well, guys. Big shout out. Any West Coast fans you want to see with more midfield time? Did I say fans? West Coast players. I think the guys we kind of already have in the midfield are probably the right ones. Like, I don't know if I'd change anything. One thing I've noticed is Hunt seems to be training with the backs, where I pretty much liked him on the wing. Like, I feel like, why change what was working? And I'd like to see Hoff play as a wing a little bit, but I'm patient with that one. So I think the guys we have who are already getting midfield minutes are the right ones. Thank you for saying that, Desync. I appreciate that. I agree that we are definitely not as bad as the injuries have made us look. Yeah, the Crows can make the finals this year, I reckon, Riley. In fact, I think they will. Luke, no, I'm not so much on Twitter these days at all. Like, there is a True Footy Twitter, but like, I don't think I've used it in years, and it still has one of my first logos. I need to find out if I'm missing out by doing that. Like, am I missing some really good opportunities? A, for promo, but B, is it actually good? Like, Twitter has always been, oh, I just looked at the screen and saw an unbelievable Yorker from Ty. Sorry, that caught my eye. Clean bold. For a bottom 4, only team that has gotten worse is actually, it's not bad. Not a bad logic, although they do have a lot of young players still improving, so I don't think they'll necessarily get worse, and I think they played below what they're capable of last year. Will Simo keep his job if West Coast finish last? That's next year. That's a good question too. I think it really does depend on how we play as much as where we finish. If it's a similar year to this year, or 23, then yeah, I'd say he goes. But if we win, say, 5 games, which would be a lot for a wooden spoon team, and our percentages around the 75 to 80 mark, I think he could survive. Why do you think the Dockers can't hold on to their players every year? That's a great question. I mean, I don't really know from the outside looking in, but sometimes when clubs lose a few players, it starts to become normal, and the culture seems to almost not make it taboo to leave. Like you look at some of these clubs that don't lose players, like Geelong comes to mind. Even West Coast don't lose players really. And I wonder if that's just a compounding effect over years of just being like, it'd be such a bizarre thing for an Eagles player to request a trade. So maybe it's like a cultural norm. I don't know. I'll stop short of saying it's like Fremantle's bad culture or anything like that. I don't really think that would be the case. What's West Coast injury list currently? It's not completely ruined, but it's not great either. Like Tim Kelly's gonna miss 3 weeks. Liam Ryan's out for 3 months, and then Sheed's got a hot spot, but I think he's back running soon, so it's not too bad. Like that's kind of normal, but we all have PTSD, and we don't want to see it get worse for sure. Can Carlton win the premiership without Wiedering? I don't think so, Lily. I think he's going to be arguably the hardest player to replace. Jason Horne-Francis or Harley Reid at their peak? That's a really good question too. I want to say Reid, but I'm an Eagles nuffy, so I think Harley Reid is a stronger prospect at the same age, even though Jason Horne-Francis was unreal. Horne-Francis probably had a few more crazy games at senior level. Reid's played at senior level and played well, but then again, I think he's played behind the footy. Like he's played in the back half, so it's a little bit harder to do that. I don't know. Good comparison though. That's not a bad would you rather, Casey. Kane Corn said Chris Scott will be the next coach of Brisbane. I did see that actually. Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe he assumes that he'll just call time, sort of like Bomber Thompson did, and then go back to the original club. That's kind of the model. Yeah, I suppose it really depends like on timing, like when Chris Scott leaves, when Fagan leaves. What is one thing you hate most about Victorian clubs? I don't really hate any aspect about them. I do find the commentary definitely does get Vic biasy. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's just the commentary, so it's like I can live with it. But like sometimes, for whatever reason, because Victorian clubs can't all like each other. Like it doesn't make sense to me. But if they're playing the West Coast, and to be honest, I've seen it when they've played Freo as well. It's just like the other team's not even playing. Coaches under pressure. Longmuir to some extent. Bevo, yes. Simo will be under pressure. Clarko and Mitchell will be right down the bottom. Brad Scott will have a degree of pressure, but nothing too major. He's still new there. I just think, yeah, it'll be pressure to perform. You could even say Ross Lyon will have some pressure. Not because they're playing poorly now, obviously, but like there's some expectation there. But then again, you got to extend that to most of the teams. I think we've covered most of the main ones. Hinkley's going to be under pressure. Going straight sets again. More likely Tim Kelly, AA, or Oscar Allen, AA. I would say Oscar is more likely than Tim. I think Tim was fantastic last year, but there's too many better midfielders. Mitch Neville will be a top 10 Cats player. I think that is early, Patrick. I think he will need some time. That's crazy. Hey, Becky Char. Welcome, mates. Good to see you. Good to hear from you. Hope you're doing well. Where do you have Clayton Oliver and Melbourne finishing other than prison? Nowhere. Nowhere other than prison. I hope we see a fit Clayton Oliver. I do. For his own sake, as well as Melbourne's. Yeah, no one wants to see like players going off the rails. I hope he's alright. Who's the best most biased commentator? I think they're all kind of bad. I do have this theory though that they seem to follow what the crowd's doing. Like if the crowd is up and about for a goal, they really rise. But if the away team kicks a goal, they don't. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's not a big bias thing at all. Warren Treasury gets on Port's board. Will Ken Hinkley's job be safe? I think it depends on his performance. I think Port Adelaide's list is strong enough where they can say, hey, cut the shit, no more straight sets, exits. That being said, they'll be fine. Probably. It is weird how much Port fans really don't like Hinkley that much. It is disproportionate. Matthew Nicks will be under pressure as Riley. I suppose there's expectation there, but I think he's going really well. You actually believe Sam Mitchell's plan of a complete rebuild will work? Coming back into contention in the next 3 to 5 years. Yeah, I think so far so good. Like, Hawthorn did kind of botch their first list transition, which is fine. They had a crack. Mitchell and Mira sort of era. And then they decided to embrace the draft entirely. Yeah, fair enough. Will it work? I think they got enough talent, and there's a good balance of talent there. Excuse me, they still need a key defender, but no side is fully complete. I think they'll be contending within 5 years, yeah. I don't think they'll be flag contending within 3. So yeah, I do have faith, to be honest. Metab says Bont is the clear number 1, and second spot lags behind him as well. Fair. Who is your second? Who's the second best player in the league behind Bont? I think I had Toby Green the other day. But there's a few good players. Petrarca is also in that mix. Should we do next Freo coach is interesting. Peter, I'm not a shapes guy. Can't do them. Never did anything for me. What do I think of the caddy? I think caddy is awesome. I like him. Good option for Essendon there, for sure. So I'm just optimising my screen here. I've not watched the cricket at all. Caddy's been very impressive this pre-season, but to be fair, he's only versing Essendon players. True. No, I think I'd like to see Caddy play early next year. I think he can play up the ground. It is tough because I think Essendon's forward line has potential. Like, it's dangerous. There's no real, like, top end. Like, Peter Wright, Langford, and Stringer. None of them's going to win the Coleman, but they could all kick 50 goals. And Menzies not a bad little player. And then you got some medium forward types like Perkins and Caldwell. Like, there's some juice to that team, and I like it. So does Caddy need to start round 1? Probably not. I don't play Supercoach Patrick. I mean, I play fantasy. I did a video on that. What are some sneaky picks for me? I don't know, get Harley Reid in your team. I know that sounds really redundant, but I originally wasn't going to have him. And then they're talking about him as a defender. He'll get 20 touches a game, I think. Yeah, I think I spilled some coffee. Who is a coach that could have used Carlton's list? I mean, yeah, your mind immediately goes to the best coaches in the league, like Fagan, Hardwick, Clarkson. Who else? Oh, McRae. Given Geelong being... How close to the cliff is their list season at all? G'day, Dave. I don't know if there will be ever a cliff for Geelong. What I foresee happening is maybe they have another year. I could see them around the 8. I could even see them finishing 7th. I really could. But the time will come when Hawkins bows out. And how old's Stewart? Stewart's not that old. There will be a transition where they're just like sitting in the middle of the ladder. They're no longer making prelims. They're suddenly losing elimination finals. That's probably the best case scenario. So when that list transition happens, what I could see happening is Geelong just get Bailey Smith and Todd Marshall, and then they just stay relevant again. So I don't know if the cliff will ever come for Geelong. I think they'll work their way out of it. I think everyone that's not a Hawthorn supporter hopes Hawthorn stays at the bottom for a while. Yeah. Yeah. It is nice to see some fresh teams at the top. I don't really care that much. If it's not West Coast, it's all the same, really. As long as it's not Fremantle. Leon Cameron, my big call is Port next. Oh, that is a big call. That is a big call, Lily. Is that based on anything? Just a hunch. Which South Australian club finishes higher? This is a good call. I think the Power finish higher, but Adelaide could win both showdowns again. We could see a showdown final. We could see like an elimination final or a semi-final showdown again. As a Swan supporter, seeing the links to Ugle-Hagan and Norton makes me feel he's out the door soon. Who are you referring to? Sorry, are you referring to Logan McDonald? Sorry, Matsaba. Yeah, Logan out the door. Sorry, there you go. I think the Eagles would need to pull out a really good season this year to prove to Logan McDonald it's worth coming over. Because I think bloody Collingwood would have a better chance of getting Logan McDonald than West Coast for sure. I mean, he's a Pies fan originally. There's Fremantle to consider. I don't really think it's super realistic for us if we can pull that off. I would love it, but I don't think so. I'd say he stays in Sydney or goes to Collingwood. Ugle-Hagan at Sydney is a scary idea, I just think. I agree. How good do you think a soccer or cricket player would be at AFL? Pretty bad, I think. Pretty bad. Unless you're like Will Sutherland, he's pretty good. Mitch Marsh as well was pretty good at football. Highly doubt Andrew Mackie makes Geelong go bottom 6. Yeah, I'm not going to have Geelong in my bottom 6. Do I see the Giants as premiers? I think it's possible. Yeah, I think they've proven they can play at the MCG to some extent. They can play finals well. I think in an ideal world they get a home final, but yeah, I can see them winning the premiership. What do you think about playing an AFL game in the USA? I don't really care. You know what I mean? Like, I just... it would be kind of cool to see them react to it, but like... I mean, I could watch that on YouTube. You know what I mean? I don't really see the point. I think it's a little bit audacious to try and really drive interest if the AFL decided to do a game there. I mean, off season, sure, but logistically, that's kind of annoying as well for players. Play badminton with Walker's grandmother. How good do you think he is? There you go. I think Walker's a good player. Yeah. I've kind of lost track of exactly where he's at, but I think he's best 22 at Fremantle and not a bad player for sure. I don't know about the nickname Riley, Richard. That's funny as fuck. Like, just picturing other players calling him Riley. This 18-year-old that's just joined the club, that would be crazy. Only 3 teams I'd rule out of making finals at the bottom 3 from last year. Really? See, I think I'm probably more likely to back in Hawthorn than Richmond, but that could be something that really bites me on the ass, to be honest. And not in a good way. I don't think Petrarca would ever go to the Pies. No, I think he's a D's man. Smith could go there. Smith to Collingwood or Geelong. I think I'd rather see Smith at Geelong. I feel like it would just even up the comp for a start. Like Collingwood getting stronger through Bailey Smith would probably be not as fun for me. Whereas it'd be interesting to see if Geelong stay good or, you know, relevant. Ben's saying, so much AFL content, I love it, but your past videos are just the same over and over. You think so? I feel like I'm making some new content at the moment. What have I got lately? I've done those 3 video essays. Not to get defensive. I think I've mixed it up a little bit. But it is repetitive, but to some extent, like, the format might stay the same, but the content changes, right? So, like, if it's AFL underrated or whatever, it's like 40 different questions from when I did it like 2 years ago. Yeah, I don't know. AFL should play games overseas. You're right. I mean, it'd be interesting. When is Freya's premiership year? I'd say 2030. Maybe. They are pretty young. They are still really young. They're one of the youngest lists in the comp. That doesn't make sense. One of the youngest lists. I think Drewzy told me second youngest list in the comp yesterday on the phone. I don't know if he's making that up. So they need some time, and every time they start to get some momentum, they go backwards a little. But Geelong should go for Ugle-Hagan. Not a bad shout. I don't know how open he would be to that. It sounds like he does want to stay at the Dogs. So I don't know. In 2024, can Freo get closer to that 22 form we saw? The answer was barbecue shapes. I think they can get closer to it. I think 2023 was a little bit of an aberration for them. Will they replicate 2022? I'd be skeptical. They have lost some talent for sure. Like Mundy, for a start, was a big player. Thank you, Richard. Needs more Essendon content. Stinky Geelong fan service. Now, I'm kind of planning to go through each of the 18 clubs with this video essay series. I've got thoughts on an Essendon video. I'm kind of juggling a few in a row at the moment. Oh, wicket. I'm not sure if it'll be Essendon, St Kilda, Brisbane. Those are probably the three I was thinking. Darth Jar Jar says, who wins the flag next, Eagles or Freo? I mean, we have no idea, so I'm just going to say West Coast. But I have no idea. Choose one team to drop majorly out of the 8 and one team to shoot up. Okay. Drop majorly out of the 8. No one's really coming to mind. Like, Melbourne could miss the finals if they have a really bad year. That's kind of a redundant statement. Everyone could. I'm trying to think who else. I think Sydney should improve. I think Port should stay there. I don't think I'd have St Kilda falling out either. Yeah, I don't know. Melbourne or Carlton seem like the most likely to have a terrible season, but they also have some of the most talented players. How many games do you manage to watch being in the UK? Do you watch them live? I guess your sleeping pattern doesn't matter since you don't have a 9 to 5. Yeah, that's a good point. No, I get up a lot at 4 for games. Mostly Eagles games. Finals, I was getting up at 4. Other than that, I'd probably watch like the last game of each day, if that makes sense. Do I ever play footy back in the day? If so, what position? Yeah, I did for a couple of years only, because I grew up overseas a lot. But I played kind of everywhere. I think that my best football was at centre half forward. But other than that, probably half back. Which, yeah, I literally played every position. I played key forward. I played half forward. I played midfield. I played back line. Didn't play full back or ruck. Thank God. What do I think of mid-season trades? A little bit. Like, I don't see the real need for it. I kind of like the idea that you can come up with your squad for the year and then you have to fill all the depth and then it's up to you. And you don't get to fix that through trades mid-season. That's my personal opinion. Spinnies in the chat. Welcome, mate. Good to have you. Dangerous tackle rule does more damage than good. Yeah, I know what you mean. That's hard. I haven't really noticed it too much. I mean, I have noticed dangerous tackle freeze, but I haven't really noticed that like it's making it more dangerous. I defer to your judgment. It's just a bit of a blind spot for me. Wordy says, could see the Hawks finishing above Richmond, but if one of them makes a surprise finals appearance, I feel like Richmond are more likely. Yeah. The thing is, isn't like Tom Lynch kind of like under an injury cloud? Because that's huge for me, I think. You look at their top talent, and it's like, Prestia, Bolton, Dusty, Lynch, Taranto. Probably some others that I'm failing to mention right now. But I feel like Tom Lynch is too integral. And they rely too much on too few. Blade says, Crows to replace St Kilda in the 8. I want to have the Crows in there. I also want to have St Kilda in there. It's going to be very tough to do my ladder prediction. Probably be doing that in a few weeks. Oh, run out. Sydney will improve, but you see Port dropping out. I like it. I don't think I can really bet on Port missing out, though. They've got too many guns. But Sydney will improve, yeah. Adelaide can make the finals, but... Sorry, the top 4, but I don't think they will. I don't think I bet on making top 4. That'd be audacious. Most physical role. Yeah, I think Desink's probably answered it. Ruck is probably the right answer there when you consider they're running and jumping into each other constantly, but also wrestling at the throw-ins. But failing that, I don't know, they're all kind of physical in a sense. Like, midfield's physical. I'd say like inside midfielder and then like a key back position or key forward position. Those are probably the ones. And Ruck. Tigers having more ready-made stars. I get your logic there, Wordy. Yeah. 4 for 48, Riley. That's right. Do you think the Tassie team will impact lower-end teams through drawing on additional draft stocks in the initial years? So what I think, Suds, is that they've looked at the model of GWS and Gold Coast, and apparently they're going to set those teams up to succeed better by not necessarily just pumping them full of draft picks. And they've also taken on feedback from clubs about compromising the draft even more than it already is. So that makes me a little bit hopeful that the draft isn't going to be as cooked as it was in 2011 and 10. Who knows what that looks like? It'll still have the eyes picked out of it, but not maybe to the same extent. So I don't think it'll be quite like it was. If Gold Coast don't make finals, will Ben stay? And King. I think he could, but they need to get close. When are you coming to gather round? You can buy both pizza shapes and barbecue shapes. You love your shape, Peter. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not 2024, but maybe 25. Maybe. Depends when it is. When is it usually? Is it like April? That's going to be tough. I need to be in Perth for April 25. I know that sounds weird to have a plan for April 25, but my sister's visiting. So you should play games in New Zealand again. That'll be interesting. Getting a New Zealand interest first is exactly where I'd start. Does Yo play... Oh, West Coast should be competing before Tasmania team? Yeah. We should have all the talent we need by then. Does Elliot Yo play a whole season? No. No. He hasn't played more than 12 games since 2019, apparently. I do not think Tasmania team will be very competitive. Yeah, it depends how they do it. I think it's always going to be hard to completely establish a new organisation and make them a good team early. But if they can do it at the same speed that GWS did it, I think that's a success. Who do the Pies target as a marquee player in 25? Do you mean end of 25 season, like that trade period? I don't know who's out of contract. I could get that up. What I might do is I'll just get a new drink of water. So if you guys can hold tight for like 60 seconds, maybe less. Back, baby. Oh. Where were we at? Oh yeah, I'll just get the player contract list up in the background. Footy Wire is a great resource for this. Or in general, I use Footy Wire more than anything else. But you can find, if you type in AFL player contracts Footy Wire, it will give you year by year, which is great. So we'll have a quick look at that. Thoughts on Cousins at Tigerland? Yeah, I mean, I was a kid. Like, it was hard for me to see him play for someone else, but I think I was happy for him, ultimately. Who is the number one Eagle? Well, I think probably Tim Kelly. Tim Kelly, but that could change as early as this year. Where are we at? Sorry, I think I missed a bit. Somebody asked, and I've lost the message here. Oh yeah, Desink says, do you spend much time on Big Footy? Yeah, I'm always on Big Footy, to be honest. Most days. It remains the best source for, like, particularly off-season news. Like, how's training going? Like, I'll spend all that time on Big Footy. Sometimes just after a game, I want to see what other people are saying about the Eagles. That was where I go. And draft and trade rumours. It still stacks up. A lot of them are bullshit rumours, but it's still fun, right? 2026 Premiership. Could we see St Kilda really in contention by then? Maybe. There's the Crows. Probably Sydney, actually. Get out of it, Graz. No, not 100. It'll be less, I promise, than last year. Do you think if Collingwood win another flag, how and Chris might retire? That's a good question. I can verify that by contract status. So let's have a look at Collingwood for a start. Who's out of contract for him? Howie's out of contract, and who's the other one? Crisp? Crisp is a bit younger, isn't he? And contracted. So Crisp, I don't think so. But Howe must be close to the end of his career. Ismail says, Ben McKinley, underrated Eagle. I did love Ben McKinley briefly. Like, in 2008, I think he kicked 45 goals. He was unreal. I think he kicked 7 against Essendon. Yeah, I'll never forget that. That was cool. But yeah, it turned out to be not an amazing player. What time is AFL on in the UK? Like sometimes 4, sometimes 8:30. Like I think the night games are like 8:30 in the morning. That is. Wheelo and Footy Wire are my faves. I've never even heard of Wheelo. I'll have to check that out. G'day, Sound Bounce. Shout outs. It's the best way to get in contact for collab. Yeah, so I've always been historically really bad at Instagram, but I'm getting better at it. I realise there's so many people I didn't follow back. Like, it's been really embarrassing the last couple of weeks. I've literally had to message people and be like, I'm so sorry. So Instagram, at True Footy Official, I have gotten a lot better at checking it. Having said that, email's a good one, truefooty@gmail.com. That's fine. Even my personal Insta, JT McClure. Like I'm getting better at checking them all. Yeah. So I'm trying to think, is there anywhere else? Yeah. The emails are probably the one I'm most consistent on, but I'm getting better at it. So yeah, let's do something. Sydney's a good shout. Yeah, Sydney's list is like, there's still like a lot of young talent on it. Even though they made the grand final. Collingwood's list is old. Yeah. Yeah, looking at their team in 3 years is interesting. I'm not on Twitter at all, Centre Bounce. No, like I haven't looked at my Twitter for like 4 years. Yeah, you'd think I was a professional content creator, but nah. No social media awareness at all. Port might win 2024. You reckon? Yeah, they could. They could. I mean, like, they could. probably not favourites, but yeah. How good are Carlton going to be this year? I think they have the potential to win the premiership this year. I could also see them finishing 8th. Like, they haven't proven that consistency, obviously. So until such time, there's always a chance. Sounds good, centre bounce. Who am I chatting to right now, by the way? Because there's a couple of you, isn't there? Looking at the profile picture. Not getting them mixed up, am I? This happens sometimes, actually. I'll be chatting with like a channel that has multiple people on it. And the person that I am messaging is not the person I do the video with. That has gotten awkward for me before. I'm like, what? Do you think the Eagles will bounce back or expect them to bottom table for a while? Lots of good kids coming through. RBJ, nice, good stuff, mate. Yeah, thought so. I don't think we'll bounce back too quickly, to be honest. I don't think we're as bad as what last year suggested. We let things get terrible, but I think it's going to be a slow road back. But I mean, we can circumvent. Is that the word? Circumvent that a little bit. I'm going to Google what that means. Circumvent that a little bit by trading in the right players as well. We don't have to go for A-graders, but if Brockman turns out to be a good pressure forward, if Flynn does a good job as a circumvent was not quite the right word I was looking for, but I think if we land a Starcevic or something little things like that could really improve us quickly. Yeah, I do remember you from Fancast, absolutely centre bounce. I just wanted to make sure who I was chatting to right now. If that makes sense. Suds reckons Southport Sharks for the 20th team. Be cool. It'd be weird to have another Queensland team before WA or South Australia. Forward tour's an issue at the Eagles. Feel like it's Allen and it's nothing. Somewhat. Yeah, I mean, well, what's the trio? If you go with 3 tools this year, it's going to be Allen, Darling. Darling, I think, played injured last year. He wasn't great. And probably about to retire. I think Marek is a good young player. So, in terms of young prospect, yes. In terms of, best 22, he's going to take some time. And Waterman's not a bad little third tall either. And we just drafted Archer Reed. So, it's not great. But in terms of the right amount of prospects on the list, I think we're okay. That does not surprise me, Graz, that you have Jai Amos kicking 80 goals. I think you're going to have to be a little bit more patient with him. Do you reckon the ground at Lathlane Park might be at fault? Or West Coast? Do you reckon they should do any? Yeah, so that one's tricky because I think Perth still train there, and I don't think Perth have the same issues that we do. And Fremantle share Optus, and they don't have quite the same issues. It seems to be us. I don't know. Do the Roos get smashed by 6 goals every week? Defense is a worry. I agree. The back 6 does concern me a little bit. The more I think about it, I do think that North are probably the most likely to win the Spoon. And I know that as an Eagles fan, that opinion will not be looked at favourably. But I just think you can combine the age factor. They're clearly the youngest list. And a really suspect defense. I think the only thing that stops them getting the Spoon again is West Coast falling a heap again. They'll be okay long term. I just don't know if I see improvement this year. And somebody said before, no, not somebody. Where did I see it? I can't remember where I saw it. I think I saw it on Big Footy that Zach Fisher's just done a hammy. I don't know how bad it is though. New Zealand team play for Tasman Cup with Tassie Devils. That would be interesting. What a weird new rivalry in the AFL. Bring Fitzroy back. Maybe. I don't think we need another Victorian team. Darth Jar Jar says, I think Jack Willow is underrated. Yeah, I mean, I should have mentioned him for a start. I thought it was kind of odd he only got a 1-year contract, though. I think he's alright. More priority picks. Yeah. It will be interesting to see how the AFL deals with that. like if we do see North finish in the bottom 2 or even last again, like, is more priority picks the answer? How will the AFL handle that? That's a whole other question. Be very interesting. I just think there's so much pressure around the draft being compromised that I think the AFL might be like, oh, we don't want to piss off everyone by giving them like start of round 1 pick. Tricky one. North will finish 17th again, Richard says. I presume you have West Coast in 18th. Fisher has gone off for scans. Okay. Low tracking well, may come back a lot earlier. That's good. Ooh, McKercher the half back line. Really? That's news to me. Interesting. I could see McKercher having a bloody Dacos-like season, eh? Like, maybe not as good. I don't know. But I could see him doing that role and being really suited to it. 5 for 91, says Riley. That's true. Wollongong would be interesting. What if Richmond relocate to Bendigo? I can't see that happening with 100,000 members or whatever they've got. By the way, guys, if you could like the stream, that would be very... Ooh. Oh, he's out. Hit wicket. They get 4 runs too, though, right? For a hit wicket. That's my understanding of the rule. Is that what happened? Oh, great. Right as the replay happens, KO crashes. I swear it's been perfect this entire time. The exact second I actually stop and want to see what's happening. Here we go. Oh my god, it did it again. It did it again. I shit you not. Sorry, this is inappropriate for me to have a tantrum on the stream, but this is bullshit. Oh no, it was clean bowled. There you go. Anyway. VFL State of Origin with this waffle. Yeah, that'd be cool. I think everyone would like to see State of Origin. It'd be weird having to support like Fife if he was playing in the game though. And we'd feel weird. Safe standing, working well in a league in Sydney. Interesting. Is that right? Are they going to fit more people into the MCG? I literally have not heard that before. Will it be Dangerfield's last year? He's out of contract. Yeah, so what year is Dangerfield born? In 1990. Good point. I kind of forgot about Dangerfield. At least since I last did a Geelong video. He's turning 34 this year. Yeah, Danger and Hawkins is 2 big losses there. But if they can turn that into Bailey Smith and Todd Marshall, like... I say Todd Marshall because he's out of contract, which, by the way, I forgot to double check. I forgot to fully answer that question before. Looking at some big names in 2025. Cool. G'day Heath, welcome mates. McKercher has been penciled in for a half-back spot. Yeah, right. I missed that completely. It's theme of the week, even Reed is training there. Yeah, true. Less damage on the body for a start. Easier to find the ball as well. Get some touch up, you know. Averaging like 20 touches a game is probably better for their confidence going forward than, you know, 12 if they're playing in the forward line. Graz says, I reckon Fife can make All-Australian this year. I don't think so. I think he's just a bit old and banged up. I'm not being disrespectful. Strikers have lost well on scorches. Interesting. 5 for 95. Yeah, you reckon? 7 overs, they can still get 160. Oh. I realised that you had seen that wicket and I hadn't. It was delayed. Geelong could get Ben King. Imagine that. They'd have to trade for him though. Cardinia Park has safe standing in UCM. Maybe a plan to have. Wow. 110,000 in the MCG would be crazy. Absolutely nuts. 6 for 95, yeah. Yeah, a little bit dire for Adelaide. This is a knockout, isn't it? This is like almost like a semi-final. Noah says, Collingwood back-to-back. Big call. But I can tell you're a Pies fan, so I get it. Oh, that coffee was not enough. Oh, I'm going to need a second one almost. Do you think Richmond and Geelong are in the same position? Richmond's shed a bit more of their veterans than Geelong have. But Geelong have a few more first-rounders on the list. Richmond probably also have some more players in their prime. Like Taranto, Hopper and Short and Bolt and Boltar as well. Geelong kind of have players either side of that prime. Kind of like West Coast in a way. Obviously just not as dire, but yeah. Is this a hat-trick ball? No. What was I saying? Problem with State of Origin, similar to AFLX, is that players wouldn't take it seriously. True, they wouldn't. Yeah, to be honest, as much as I think it would be a cool idea, I don't know if I'd actually really get too invested. It's a cool concept, though. I could easily see Geelong competing in finals this year. I agree with that, and not so much Richmond. Yeah, I think so. Especially with the new coach factor as well. Like, I don't think that just Uzo's going to come in and maintain that. Like, if it's Hardwick still there, I'd probably have a little bit more of a chance that they could exceed their best 22, if that makes sense. Yeah, it's true, centre bounds, they do, don't they? How many goals will Harry Mackay kick on Ben Mackay when they finally face off? But it is crazy that they haven't played each other, have they? No, that is crazy to me. It's been like 8 years, 8 years, I think. Oh my god. Do you think McGovern will have a return to form as he passed his prime? I think he will return to form, to be honest. Not all Australian form, but I think he could have a season where he's like one of our best players. I do think so. He has a lot to offer still. How's the AFL scene in the UK? You know what? So I live in a small town, and it's funny, at the shops a couple of times I've seen a guy wearing an AFL shirt, but it looks like he trains like with an AFL team, maybe in Manchester, which I think is kind of cool. I can't be bothered saying hello. Like, you're Australian? Nope. Okay, goodbye. I don't think he's Australian. I don't think there's another single Australian in this town. It's like 40,000 people here. Should AFL team be coloured in pink? Probably not. I don't think it's a very cool colour for an AFL team, to be honest. Maybe he's like a Clash kid, it wouldn't be too bad. Geelong need to draft some top-end kids, can't always steal them from other clubs. Maybe they can, though. Well, yeah, it'd be interesting to see, like, if you were Geelong, right, at the end of this year, would you trade your pick 8, let's call it, for Bailey Smith and sign Todd Marshall as a free agent? Would you do that? Give up your first rounder for those 2 players, obviously with the salary cap as well? You might do that. But, you know, it does help that they've drafted a few. And they've got Bruin, they've got Clark, and O'Sullivan now. Bring back AFLX. Favourite big footy theory is the Mackay twins being the same person. Heard in glass rumour. That's true, I forgot about that one. Actually, I didn't. It's burned into my mind. Yeah, that's true. They do a podcast together, don't they? But I suppose that could be clever editing. G'day, Brooklyn. Thanks for joining us. Good to see you. Can't wait for Ginnivan to take a dive to get a free kick. Oh, true. That is definitely going to happen, isn't it? I don't have any faith in Richmond, but they still don't have a bottom 4 list. Fair point. I've got a feeling Yuzo could have a Kingsley sort of comeback. I just think that GWS's list, and it's easy to say with hindsight, but I know I did actually say this in my ladder prediction. I just think their list is good. It's actually pretty good. So what do I mean by that specifically? Like they've got a lot of good midfielders in their prime, whereas I don't think the Tigers still. I don't think they bat as deep by comparison. Todd Marshall signed a contract? Okay, never mind then. 100% Geelong would do that deal for Smith and Marshall, yeah. So my point, I suppose, there was like, sure they need to go for youth, but if they could get those two established players, they would do it, right? Which I thought was possible. I thought that was possible. I think Tex can repeat his 2023 form. I think he can. I wouldn't bet on it. There has to be decline, right? At some point. So I'll say he can still be good this year and only kick 50 goals. Thoughts on Cam Mooney saying Max King can kick 600 to 700 goals. I need to process exactly what the numbers are. Let's go to Max King Footy Wire. And I will try and answer this properly. So he has played 71 games. How many goals has he kicked? He kicked 140. That's pretty damn good. So 2 goals a game. You'd think in his prime he's going to get a little bit better than that. So he needs to play 250 games. Yeah, I think that's possible. 700 is probably a bit of a stretch. He needs to really explode, but yeah. Have you found it hard to keep up with the news now around the other side of the world? Not really, to be honest. Because, I still follow the same Instagram pages. I still go to Big Footy. Like, my feed hasn't changed, you know what I mean? Like, you really are. Like, what's the actual difference? Like, I don't have, like, the evening news to tell me things, but, like, I still follow all the same pages, you know what I mean? So, the obviously the only thing is, like, the timing. So, I wake up to a whole day's news all at once. But it kind of gets me into this routine, right? So, like, if there's something worth making a video on, I wake up, I digest it, and then I make the video, and then it's up there either that day or the next day. Whereas if I'm in Perth, actually, like, maybe there's some days where the story breaks in the middle of the day and I can't quite prepare for it. So in a way, it really works. Ooh. Hawkins in danger last season will free up some salary cap. Yeah, for sure. Technically, he could kick 700 goals. He'd probably need to get to 300 games. And even then, might fall short. Well, life savings on the line. Blues, Pies or Dons? Oh, that's a good question. Fuck. Oh. That's a tough one. Okay, so Collingwood, obviously the closest right now, but are they necessarily... You probably only feel like they have 1 or 2 more swings at it. Whereas Carlton, I think, could be up there for longer. But Carlton are a little bit less reliable to actually win a flag. Like, could Collingwood dip down and come back up before Carlton win a flag? I haven't even mentioned Essendon because they haven't really been relevant. I don't know. What's the biggest difference between Australia and the UK culture-wise? It is pretty similar. I find that they seem to really enjoy our sarcastic wit. Whereas Americans don't, by comparison, to the same extent. I have to change my sense of humour a little bit when I'm around Americans. Which is not a knock. Some people don't like Americans. I really do. The drinking culture is pretty crazy here. Like, I think it's because everyone walks everywhere. Or just gets the train. Like, there's no driving, so the pubs are always full of people. 2025, they should play Gather Round in Tasmania. Could the airport sustain all that influx of people? That would be crazy, actually. Interesting to have a rise of key forwards peaking at the end of their careers. Hawkins, Tex, Cameron. Good point. Yeah. Particularly Tex. He's probably the most crazy example. Hawkins, true as well, but he has also been really consistent. I think he's kept like 50 goals a season for almost every year. Are you going to move back to Australia? I am, at the end of this year. How long does it take you to crank out the average YouTube video? Good question. It really depends. Like my Eagles video that I did, how the Eagles became the worst team in the AFL, that took me like a week. But by contrast, like if I am doing an Eagles off-season update, I don't even need to write any notes down. I just film. Filming takes probably about half an hour, maybe 20 minutes. And then editing, the simpler the video, the shorter the edit. But probably like an hour to edit a 20-minute video. Because I don't do a lot of editing in it, but I am starting to get a little bit better at it. I'm trying harder again. But when I was making simple videos, like through the trade period, I was pumping out 2 a day, whereas now I'm probably more on the 1 a day rate because I put a little bit more effort into editing. Lee says Brisbane has 1 chance to win the premiership. You reckon? Last year. Carlton really needs to do better in the forward line. Yeah, good point. Yeah, they got a few like medium types there. Like Martin has a lot of promise, but hasn't really hit the scoreboard. Motlop does have a lot of potential. I think he could be a gun. You're right. There's probably a bit too much heavy lifting from 1 or 2 players. Move to Melbourne. Yeah, maybe. I can see myself in Melbourne for a bit, but ultimately moving back to Perth after that. 6 for 120. Yeah, the strikers have made a little resurgence here. When you went to England, did you have to stop in Dubai? No, I went Qatar, America, England. But I used to live near Dubai, so I've been there plenty of times. New Zealand team would have been better for West Coast and Fremantle. Yeah, good point. Yeah, that would suck, actually. West Coast having to travel to New Zealand. Screw that. Move to South Australia. Yeah, maybe one day. I'll just do a circuit. Live everywhere for a year. That'd be interesting. Brisbane and Pies pass mark for 2024. Win the flag. Is it too harsh? Probably. I think if they're in the grand final, they can be like, we got close. If they earn that grand final spot, then it's just about 1 game. Is Richmond due for a major slide down the ladder? I think so, to be honest. I think they're in for a little bit of strife. I think they should target free agency this year. Try and get an established player in. Like a good one. Do you think this AFL YouTuber thing could ever take you to a legitimate AFL role? I don't know. I'm not sure if that's A, possible, or B, really even necessarily what I want. I think I'm just going to try and have to build this as a platform in my own right. And whatever opportunities come up. Like, it'd be great to work with the AFL, but I don't really know what roles are there. Like, I don't really know what they would use me for, if that makes sense. That'd be a crazy idea, Lily. I wonder how that would go. It would probably just kill the atmosphere of both games. I can't see them actually doing it. Oh, is that a 4? Is it just me? I don't think the Crom will make the 8. They're only good at home. True, but when it is a young up-and-coming side, usually winning away from home is like the last thing they tick off, right? Also, you can make finals by only winning at home. Realistically, like, West Coast did it for like 5 years. Be cool for me if Port slides to the bottom in 2029. Ooh, 5 years from now. Well, the thing is, you could have Butters, Connor Rosie, and Horn Francis probably still at large in 5 years' time, like in their prime. So I wouldn't bet on that. But anything could happen. Horn Francis could request a trade to North Melbourne. Wouldn't surprise me if Billy Wilson makes an early debut. Yeah, right. I don't really know too much about Billy Wilson. He was a bit of a bolter. There's a bit of hype around Jackson Binns as well. I don't really know anything about him other than he's a internally rated midfielder. BBL team of the tournament. Oh, I just missed it. Oh, wicket. Connolly. Is that 2 for 1 he's got? Not bad. When is Nick Takos out of contract? Oh, I think like 2029 or 2030, to be honest, Lily. Advertising for a big betting company in Melbourne. Yeah, right. That'd be interesting. I haven't really noticed that, Heath, about clubs doing that sort of content. Do you mean betting content? Or what do you mean by that, sorry? Or do you mean just clubs making their own organic content? There has been a big upsurge in that, though. It's funny that, like, as this platform grows, in theory, I should be earning more opportunities, you know, with the AFL or whatever. But I just keep moving further away. VFL team of the year on the wing. I didn't know that. There you go. That's good. That's good to know, Worthy. That is good to know. Nick and Josh on 6-year contracts. I think they're like 7 and 8 year contracts or something like that. My EPL team is Liverpool, Matt. I love Liverpool. Top of the league right now. Scorchers for the 3-peat. I think the Sixers might be the favourite at the moment. What do you think Q's brother's in the VFL team for Collingwood? So I don't really understand the question. Q's brother? Do you mean Quaynor? Does Quaynor have a brother playing in the VFL team for Collingwood? First I'm hearing. Clubs doing organic content, they do not love betting. Yeah, I was like, what? That doesn't make sense. I haven't seen that before. Right, so... and we do a lot with the AFL. No, they love organic. I see what you're saying. Okay, I've reread your first comment and now it makes more sense to me. Yeah, I did work with the AFL about 12 months ago. Well, I was on a video on their channel, hosted by Caden. So there's already a little bit of a relationship there, but again, I just really don't know what I could offer them. I think I have to do this myself. Not that I would at all say no to any sort of opportunities with them. I just think, you know, they're not going to get me on afl.com.au or anything like that. I'm not qualified for a start. But, you know, maybe there's opportunities to work with them and promote stuff, maybe. I don't know. Have North messed up? Yeah, I've made that point before, do you think? I do see it. The good thing is in this day and age, you can trade established players in much easier than you could like 10 years ago. So they won't be ruined, but I think right now their key position stocks aren't great, for sure. As for keeping their midfield picks, I think they just kind of want to wait and see what rises to the top. But LDU, Wardlaw, McKercher, and who am I missing there? Oh my god. Well, there's Simkin as well. I think that's like the 4. Taron Thomas, if he stays, God knows what's happening with Taron Thomas. I'm just kind of keeping my head out of the Taron Thomas thing at the moment. I'll probably cover it at some point. I just don't know anything about it at the moment. Riley says North of 2050. I'm going to hold you to that, Riley. I'm going to come back to this stream. Trevor, what do you think of them? Do you think they will be just as good as Quain or better? So I'm confused. Again, go pack. Sorry. Okay, does Quainors have multiple brothers in the VFL? Sorry, forgive me. I'm just not understanding. North forward line is okay. Will Dawson will be a star. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know too much about Will Dawson or Finbar Maley or anything like that. I'm just sort of looking at what's exposed at the moment. The back line, yeah, is a problem. Nick Larkey's obviously the outlier there. He's a gun. I suppose there's a wait and see on Comben. He's pretty inexperienced. Do you think Comben plays forward or back in the future? I think AFL YouTube's crying out for like a kickoff for Football Daily. Yeah, that's pretty much what I've been striving to do, Heath. Try and be like that. To some extent. I kind of try and merge the two a little bit. The kickoff is a little bit harder to replicate. That's very high production, but that's what I would like to sort of see as well, or produce. Who's going to win the Big Bash in the next few years? I don't know. I find it so hard to predict the Big Bash, weeks in advance. I think I had Adelaide coming last, but I openly don't know that much about the BBL. I follow this series pretty heavily. It's probably the most I've ever followed the BBL, if I'm being completely honest. Com is 100% KBD. Okay. So, who is the long-term partner to Larky, do you think? Got a lot of good medium forwards, but key forwards are a little bit harder to name. Or is that what Finbar Maley is? Sean Darcy could easily eat the most barbecue. Jake Stringer, maybe? I don't know. Is that real to sink? They're force-fed Hobbs shapes? That seems odd. Do you think North uses the last spot on a tall or wave the MSD? I suppose it depends what's available. Like, is there anyone training with North at the moment? That's what my first question would be like. Who is immediately available to them? Other than that, MSD I think has proven... Well, I feel like the Eagles have gotten a bit of success out of it, particularly with Ryan Barrick. And with North, respectfully, I think there's a chance they either have pick 1 or pick 2. So, maybe you go to MSD. Do you rate Bailey Williams as a pure forward? He hasn't really shown it yet, but I do think that his ability to stick marks got a lot better this year. I do think this is his more natural role. Is he going to be really a dangerous marking forward? I'm not sure, but he could be that sort of link-up player who breaks play up. When we long bomb down the line, he can sort of stick a mark and keep the ball moving. That's where I think his value could be. I don't think he's going to keep 25 goals. Yeah, I had them down the bottom this year too, really. This year, North could look at forwards. Yeah, I think specifically talls, though, as opposed to... Like, they've got a few medium forward types. Like, Zerha, Stevenson, Braden George is in there. Curtis and Ford may be considered smalls, I don't know, but they got some depth there. Dan McKenzie is training Fremantle. I saw that. Do you rate Dan McKenzie? I can't say I really have a strong opinion. I presume it's as a wing. Oh, yeah. Strikers have sort of put together a score here that will be competitive. Should have a prize for your True Footy Game Day squad comp. Yeah, we should. We should. Maybe we can do that this year. I did prizes in 2021 when the channel was thriving. Last year, like, before the final series last year, this channel was so dead. Oh, he's dropped a simple catch. This channel was so dead. Really bad. So yeah, thankfully it's made up a lot of ground since then, which is bizarre. I think I'm going to perform better on YouTube in January than I did in July, June, and August. In fact, let's be specific about this. I will be candid with you about my views. I don't know if you find this interesting, but it is actually kind of stupid. Once I load it up. Do you think Riley Sanders will fill Bailey Smith's role in the field? So they're quite different players. But the answer is probably yes. Like, he'll probably take his spot, yeah. Be interesting to see what happens with McRae as well from a fantasy point of view. That would be interesting. Okay, so I have had more views on YouTube this month than any of the first 8 months of 2023, and it is January. And is only 20 days into January. Which is just ridiculous when you think about it. Literally, it's already been August of last year. Factoring, I did travel last year, but at the same time, I've also only done 20 days in January. So, yeah, I would never have thought that was possible. Just a bit of a change of mindset, I think, is a factor. Getting a little bit of momentum up is a factor from an algorithm point of view too. And am I working harder? I'm working about the same probably. Maybe a bit smarter. Feels like the best YouTube your channel's ever been doing. Yeah, thanks to Sync. In some ways, yeah. Like, no, that's definitely true. October was my best ever month. November was my third. So, can't complain. And to keep people watching in January has been awesome. So I really appreciate you. Luke Quaynor from my earlier comment. I think there's a younger brother called Ben Quaynor. Yeah, that kind of rings a bell. I feel like now, I feel like those names ring a bell now. Luke Quaynor in particular. Very good videos. I only see Essendon stuff, which is great. Thanks, Suds. I appreciate that. I will be doing an Essendon version sometime soon. I gotta work out which video I'm doing next. You got recommended from the Magpies video. Oh, there you go. Good to have you. Go back. Thank you. Change my AFL team for next year. No. Tempting, but no. Good like Jackson B. Would you compare his potential abilities? Come on, man. Yeah, but Luke Jackson's a pretty good player. No doubt about it. Yeah, he could be a very good player. Like, exactly what he translates to, like, I don't know what type of player he will be. Will he be a ruckman who kicks 30 goals a season? That would be pretty damn good, to be honest. G'day, Sauce. Kids are good, mate. They're at their mothers at the moment. Oh, yeah, cheers to seeing. I have noticed that too. Like, I look sometimes where traffic's coming from, and I have noticed a bit more traffic from Big Footy. I've posted one or two. I posted the Eagles one on the Big Footy board. I posted the Cats one on the Big Footy board too. Oh, sorry, on the Geelong board. Yeah, whereas I noticed, like, somebody posted my comment on For Me, the Richmond one, the Sydney one. Sydney board did not like my video. That happens. That does happen. But generally speaking, it's been alright. I think Freo signing Luke Jackson was a mistake. No, I don't think so. I think he's the right talent, age, and like profile for them, and the right position to some extent. Like especially if he kicks 20, 30 goals a year, that makes him different to Sean Darcy, who is now going to be at Fremantle long term. So, no, I don't think it was a mistake. They'd also taken a lot of draft picks and have 3 first rounders next year. They'll be fine. Do I have a share on Reddit? Yeah, so I used to self-promote on Reddit a bit, and then I got pulled up for it. They gave me a bit of not a clip, but they just pulled me up and said, hey man, like, you can't just self-promote and not also be a regular contributor on Reddit, which I didn't have time to do both. So I was like, yeah, that's fair. So I kind of hoped that my videos would be good enough for other people to share. Which has happened in fits and starts, but not really. You know, watch the West Coast Eagles preseason games. Oh, absolutely. I might even stream them. That's how keen I am. Lily says, Windhagen next captain of St Kilda. Big call, but I trust your judgment over mine. Who do the Eagles target for pick 1? I think Finn O'Sullivan is the clear number 1 at the moment. Well, not massively clear, but the current candidate. How is the baby mama? She out of rehab? Nah, she's back in, man. She's red hot addiction to twisties. Had to do an intervention. Her hands are just permanently yellow. Does Jai Cully fit into our side of West Coast at full strength? I don't think so. I don't think so, John. Certainly not at full strength. A lot of good players will miss out if any team is full strength. But I think he will be up against it. I hope he does it. Honestly, if he comes back and has a good year dominating the waffle and cracks 1 or 2 games, then I'll give him another year. G'day, Max. Welcome, mate. Disappear into the ether. Yes. Good to have you. Nobody's training with the North outside of some VFL guys, but nobody officially like other clubs. Okay, interesting. Well, in that case, probably not in a position to sign a SSP player right now. Unless there's a clear list need, unless there's like a clear key forward that you're just like, yes, this guy could play for us in the first 6 months of next year, you might as well wait, I reckon. Jack Hayes back to South Australia. Who would he go to? I suppose the Crows would be more likely. Do the Crows need him? Because I figure Port don't need a ruckman forward. Lily says Levi Ashcroft number 1. Maybe. I don't think he's currently considered in that rank, though. I think there's probably 3 or 4 ahead of him, probably. What are the best snacks in the UK? Anything decent we don't have? You know, I'm probably the worst person to ask, Joyce. I don't really snack too much. Yeah. I'm sure there's a whole heap of things that are better here that we don't have back home that I don't know. But they do... They are aware of like mint slices and Tim Tams here, and they say that Australia has some amazing stuff, which is true. It reminds me of Lycett. Really good overhead. Interesting. You see him playing 23 at fit. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know too much about him. How old is Finbar? Like, I don't know why I thought he was either 23 or 20. I've lost track. I think where I read it might have been a mistake, and now it's confused me. Hasn't he been playing Nick Martin off half back? Interesting. That's an interesting development. Who are their other running defenders? Man, I've done all 18 teams best 22s, and I'm forgetting. I'm legit forgetting. I'm trying to think who the halfbacks are. McGrath is one of them. Then you got, in the taller types, Mackay Ridley, maybe Laverde, or Zach Reed or something like that. Those are the talls. You got Mason Redman. Is the other spot locked in? Maybe there's... Well, evidently there's a spot for him if they're training him there. Penguins chocolate. Jack Hayes only had 1 game in the AFL last year. Yeah, right. Yeah, okay. Yeah, he'll go cheap. 21. There you go. Interesting. Might be a fantasy option, maybe. No, I mean, he's tall. He's probably not going to score a lot of points, but you'd think he'd be 200k. Nah, we'll see. Oh, that was a big back crack. Did you hear that? Oof. Oh, we're at the innings break right now. Hind. Yeah, there you go. But this is what are you doing for Australia Day? Oof. Well, considering I did nothing for my birthday, probably not a lot. That's not true, actually. My roommate's mum had me over for dinner for us all, which is nice. That being said, like, if I'm... Yeah, no, I'm not going to do anything. Oh, thanks, mates. Have a good one. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's collab. I need to get a little bit better at collabing. I've been a little bit insular for years, but yeah, I've made a StreamYard account, so I'm sure we can do stuff like that. Is your email listed somewhere? So it's truefooty@gmail.com. That being said, if you want to find it, it's also in the banner of my channel. Otherwise, there is Instagram, man. Truefooty Official. I know the official part sounds so wanky, but the complete truth is, the Truefooty was already taken on Instagram, and I don't like it when you put YT on the ats. Like, some people would put Truefooty YT, and I just think it looks silly, so I went Truefooty Official. But believe me, there's no Truefooty impersonators out there. Who do you see winning the Coleman in 5 years? God. Maybe Logan McDonald? No, I don't think Clay Hall will play round 1. Could he debut this year? Yes. But there's starting to be a little bit of competition now. With other, like, 20-year-old midfielders. Sounds good, mate. Look forward to it. Harry Mackay's overrated. Ooh, I think he's a little underrated now. I feel like people have been critical of him. G'day, Aiden. I think... Where was I? Was I confident? No, I was filming it. I was at the other end of the ground filming it. And I was watching him go through. So we had missed like 4 in a row right before that. Like simple choices. Simple shots. What am I saying? Maston hits the post. I think Ryan hits the post. Might have missed twice. And Cole missed one. And it was like, come on, boys. And she gets this tough angle. And I'm looking at it like perfectly sideways. And I just thought score a point and then lock the ball inside 50. But then as he kicks it, the crowd starts to rise. That's my memory of it. The crowd just starting to roar. It just slowly makes its way over to the other end of the ground. So no, I wasn't confident at all. It was amazing. Harry Mackay is going to unlock Ridley. Ooh. Ugelhagen Common, yeah, that's not a bad shout as well. There's a few good young key forwards on the horizon. You got the King twins. You got the... I like McDonald. I've talked him up. Ugelhagen, absolutely. Oscar Rowling could probably still be winning Commons. I just mean still be at the age where he's at 29, capable of a Common. I think he's in that conversation. There's Larky too. Larky can win a Common. We do have a nice, good generation there of young key forwards. Anyone else I'm missing? Not sure. Phil Thorpe, could he be a Common candidate one day? Anyone else drafted like this year or last, probably a bit young, even in 5 years, I would have thought. Even Kerno is actually not going to be too old. Like, what's he in 5 years? 30? Luke Jackson Common's a big call. I think Nate Caddy would be a bit young in 5 years to win a Coleman. Fogarty's good. I don't know if I'd put him in a Coleman category, if that makes sense. Where are we at? Cool. Wilkie's underrated. Yeah, I think so. I think he's got his recognition this year, though. I don't know. Probably still a little bit underrated. I think St Kilda as a football club get a little bit overlooked. That being said, they did start the year well, ended it poorly. So Okay, Gresham, very average recruits for rumoured wage bill. Yeah, like especially the Mackay one. Well, in both cases, so they're incentivized to pay more to avoid trading anything. So I suppose that's part of the consideration, right? That's part of the equation. You think, yeah, they're overpaying them, but they didn't have to pay anything for a trade, and that's probably worth it to them with the money that they had. But I do agree generally with what you're saying. But for them to get those players in and draft Nate Caddy, like, you have to say that's pretty good business. Should Freo play for Ugelhagen? Yeah, absolutely. Why do I... It always ends in shapes. But you're disguising it with, like, really good questions. I do think Ugelhagen... I think Freo should make a play for Ugelhagen, absolutely. Will they be successful is another question. I mean, Ugle is like a West Australian surname. Like, surely there's a link there? I don't know the answer, though. I think my biggest call is Jack Hayes going back to Woodville West Torrens. You mean if he gets delisted? Wangini Miller could be better than Brad Hill. I think that's a fair call, Lily. I think Wangini Miller is a good player. Mackay and Gresham have been very good on the preseason. Not so much Dersman, is that right? I like to see Dersman thrive. I'm not sure why. He's a pretty interesting player. Maybe that's what it is. The innings has started here. None for one off one. By the way, if we chuck a like on the stream, guys, that would be much appreciated. Trying to keep the algorithm momentum going. You guys have been great as well. It's been a fun stream. Rising star prediction, going with Sardis. So I was thinking Sardis, and then a couple of people let me know that they're kind of like, are they trying to like reteach him how to kick a footy? Like a few people have told me that. I'm like, interesting. Which might suggest to me he might not even start round one. I don't know. I'm probably talking out me old, but on talent, I think Sardis is potential gun. So I don't mind the call. But I think McCurch has got it. That's my prediction. I'm going to lock that in. McGovern from the Eagles to kick-ins. Yeah, he's a pretty good kick for a big man, but he's probably not the one. I think Harley Reid by middle of the year will start to take a lot of kick-ins. He's a pretty good kick. I think he could sort of be like that halfback quarterback sort of player. Halfback quarterback. Windhager and Owens has a big pre-season. I did see these pictures, Lily. Yeah, looking thick. Sardis looks amazing. His kicking is a bit suspect. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess my only query there is just like how patient are they going to be? Well, no, they'll need to be patient with it. Are they going to put him into the side early? I don't know. Should we be more patient with him? That's my only thing with Sardis. But he is capable of probably winning the ball 30 times a game next year. Or 25. But the Bailey Smith question is interesting. I don't really know, but I'm going to guess more likely yes. He has played his last game there. The McGovern players should be in the same team. Oh. I don't really want Mitch at West Coast. No disrespect to him as a player, I just don't think it makes sense for us to get a 30-year-old defender that we just don't need. I equally don't want to lose Jeremy. Surely Mitch wouldn't want to leave Carlton now anyway, unless he falls out of the team. Who would be the better player, Philippou or Sardis, is a good question. If Sardis can make sure that his kicking doesn't hold him back, he will be the better player. If his kicking continues to plague him, then it will be Philippou. Sardis, I just think, could be a really high volume midfielder. Philippou will be a bit more impact. You think Fife is overrated? No, I mean, he won those 2 Brownlows because he was a fantastic player. That is a great ball. But he has faded into obscurity more so than any other, like, Brownlow medalist, well, dual Brownlow medalist ever. Like, you consider who are the dual Brownlow medalists. Gary Ablett Jr., Adam Goods, Lachie Neale. I think there's a big gap. I think Goods and Ablett. There's Ablett, then there's Goods, and there's Neale. And Fife at his best was probably maybe even above Goods, below Ablett. I love Adam Goods, like, as a player. Now, retrospectively looking back on his career, I was like, wow, that guy was so good. But Fife's probably in between those two. That being said, Fife, since then, since 2019, I know it's a lot of it's injury, but it's like, it's amazing just like how much he's faded away in terms of his legacy. I want to be precise with what I'm saying here. I'm not saying that Fife is, like, diminished his legacy, but more just like players of that ilk generally don't go like 3 or 4 years without getting talked about. It feels like Fife has kind of hit that point because of injuries. But even when he's in the side, he doesn't seem to be doing a whole heap. So to your point about being overrated, no, I mean, I think he won those Brownlows because he is the player that people were saying he is. He just hasn't been that player since, and I don't think he's overrated because he doesn't get talked about like that anymore. Do you know if Nick Nat is playing in country football? I'm going to guess no, Lily, because his Achilles ruptured. He's going to be out of footy for a while. At any level. Oh, Judd won too, of course. Thank you, Wordy. Yeah. So Judd and Ablett above 5 for me, but some pretty elite company. Bont should be a 2-time Brownlow medal. I don't think Bont is better than prime Judd Moon Landing. I kind of agree with his sentiment generally. I think Bont should have a Brownlow or 2. I don't think he's better than prime Judd though. But I don't think the gap's massive. I'm a huge Bont fan. Andrew McLeod is the greatest Indigenous player ever. Do you think so? I mean, I think Goods. I'm a bit young to really comment on that because I caught the end of McLeod really. And when I say end of McLeod, like I was like 14, so like not really qualified to really have a strong AFL opinion. But I think Goods and Buddy Franklin are probably the 2 best that I've seen, and there's Cyril and Betts in there. I don't really know where McLeod sits in that pecking order, but like there's them. From West Coast, who's the best Indigenous player ever? You'd say Peter Matera. Who else? Chris Lewis was before my time. Would have put him just probably in there just because he played so long. This is good, but McLeod was better than Adam Goods. Okay, Lily, I won't argue that point, but Goods did win 2 Brownlows. He was unreal. But I remember Adam Goods a lot more than I remember Andrew McLeod. That doesn't make him better, but Goods by far the best Indigenous player of all time. Do you think he's better than Buddy Franklin, Heath? McLeod 2, Norm Smith. Good point. Was he really 3 times runner-up in the Brownlow? I didn't know that. I guess I'm really ignorant as to Andrew McLeod. Like, he's, for some reason, it's a bit of a blind spot for me. I think we all have them in football. Who's going to be the big improvers at West Coast and Freo? This is a good question. I'd like your input too, Joycey. For Freo, I'd probably say Chapman. Trying to think who else. Erasmus, maybe? I mean, mine also goes to Hayden Young, but Hayden Young's already a pretty good player. So I'm just thinking, who's going to make the biggest gap between their best and what they are now to what they'll be at the end of the year? Maybe Erasmus, maybe Chapman. Those guys come to mind. What about you? Josh Tracy's another one. But for West Coast, Dion Woods. I think my favourite Indigenous Freo player is probably Robbie Hadrill, Joycey. West Coast biggest improver. Why is nobody coming to my brain right now? The thing is that like heaps of players are coming to my mind, but they're all like young. Shit, I need to think about that. I'd like to see Jermaine Jones put a full year together because he's just been injured a lot. But that's not so much about improving, that's just about staying in the park. Tom Emmett's a good shout, Joycey. I've heard a bit about him. I don't know a lot about him. I'm aware of the sentiment around him. Biggest improver in the Adelaide Crows. A few come to mind. There's like Pedler and Saligo and Rochelle. Like a few guys around that range who have shown talent. I'd love to say Rochelle, actually. That would be cool. Just because I think that his improvement would be big. Like if he becomes a big, like a more prominent on-ball rotation. Yeah, there's upside there for sure. I don't watch the front bar Lily, but my dad loves it. He always tells me to watch it. He says, I think Buddy. Goods did it in multiple positions. Yeah, man. I would just like... It really only hit for me like almost after he retired, the specimen that Adam Goods was. Like, obviously 2 Brownlows is one thing, but like to play in multiple positions like he did, I was just like... And he's just like this 6'3" power athlete. Like, what the hell? Oh, I'd love... He's like a prototypical footballer. Like, I would love Adam Goods in my team. But agree that I think Buddy achieved probably more. Oh, did he? Big call. Big call to say he achieved more. But... Elton Roberts, yeah, true. One of the GOATs. Luke Ryan, top 5 small forward. Luke Ryan? You mean Liam Ryan? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's just... He's never fit anymore. He's almost like just a cherry on top. I think Brockman's going to come in and... He's not really similar to Brockman at all, but I think Brockman, as the new recruit, comes in and takes his spot and might keep it. No, that's not true. Liam Ryan will come back to the team. What am I saying there? I think it could present an opportunity for Tyler Brockman. That's all I'm really saying. Troy Cook fan here. Yeah, did Troy Cook play for Sydney as well? He did, didn't he? Before Freo, I want to say. Rewald or Hawkins? Ooh. I feel like Rewald had bigger seasons. Hawkins just had the same very good season over and over. Probably Jack, but Tom was probably more consistent. If you ask the AFL recruiters if they could choose any player to be 18 again. Yeah, not a bad shout. Yeah, I think that ilk of key forward is just harder to find than, say, very good midfielders. A few people saying this game's over. Or one person. Yeah, I've got it on in the background here. None for 25. Ooh, Fanning. Who the hell is Fanning? Just looked up for the first time and seen Fanning. He's on debut. There you go. Playing well by the looks. He's on 29 out of 31. Should the AFL introduce a Big Bash finals round where teams must drop their best 2 or 3 players? What? Is that a thing? Is that a thing? Since the Big Bash stopped getting views, I kind of withdrew from like really knowing what's going on. I do watch it a bit, but I did season previews for everyone and then I forgot about it. Like Fanning was definitely not in the squad. Top 20 Indigenous or greatest Indigenous players of all time. That's a hard one. Like I have no opinion on Polly Farmer or Chris Lewis or Stephen Michael. Like these guys, Michael Long, they're all before my time. Daniel, what the That's forgivable if you are also close to 18. Jordan Jones. Dude, did you see what happened to Jordan Jones? So Jordan Jones is for anyone who doesn't know, which I'd imagine most of you don't know Jordan Jones, but he was this like Geelong Falcons Eagle player that we drafted, I think before Michael Walters in the '08 draft. I think that was the pick. He played a couple games, he was okay. You see what he got busted for? He got filmed he filmed his mother-in-law in the shower or something like that. And it was in the news. Something like that. Eagles culture, man. Should be an award for the worst coach. Yeah, just add it to the list this year for West Coast. It's hard to quantify worst coach, though. Who got sacked this year? The timelines are all blurred in my head now. Hardwick stepped down. Who got sacked? There was somebody. Bevo. Average Eagle player behaviour. It really isn't. Step films, oh my god. Stuart Dew, thank you, Pat. I knew there was somebody. Hardwick stepped down, Stuart Dew. Anyone else? I can't recall. Liam Jarrett, that's right. He did have a. I'm curious to know how old you are, because you're referencing a lot of players a while ago. I'm impressed. I'm guessing similar to my age, because I remember Liam Jarrett too, and Melbourne fans were just all over him, and rightfully so. He was pretty exciting. Do you think Dimmer will live up to the hype at Gold Coast? I think it'd be really interesting to see how he does there, because when he took over Richmond, they were a basket case. And Gold Coast are way more, shouldn't say talented, because Richmond already had Rance, Rewalt, Dusty, Cochin on the list. But you feel like Gold Coast have the depth of talent more than Richmond did at that time in 2010. Golden Fist would be an interesting one. Hard one to award. I mean, stats don't really. Yeah, I mean, no award should be really awarded on stats, but yeah, to answer your question, that would be great to see, to be honest. Lily says I'm 30. There you go, we're the same age. That makes sense. Based on your opinions of Andrew McLeod. That makes sense. Sampi was good. Sampi was a good player. Bit of a waste of talent. We didn't get a lot out of him, but what we got was good. Should really have been a premiership player. I can't really remember exactly why he wasn't in the team. Could have been injury, could have been anything. Oh, first wicket, Fanning falls. See you, Bernard. Or Dakota. Both came to mind. I went with Bernard. Who's some other good Indigenous Eagles players? Oh, Lewis Jetta. He was damn good for a few seasons there. Wirra, Sampi, Jetta. Those come to mind for me as my era. Liam Ryan, obviously. Oh, Junior Rioli as well. So damn good. Junior Rioli is probably one of my favourite Eagles ever. Lily, I'm going to be biased and just say West Coast had the best midfield. Joyce agrees. He's a Fremantle fan, so His vote counts twice. Yeah, Peter Matera for sure. Yeah. Even Phil had a pretty good, decent career for us. But yeah, West Coast midfield, I think, does trump it. I need some sleep. Oh, that's such a terrible joke. Chris Lewis. Josh Hill was decent. Yeah. Good contributor for us. Good point. Who else we got? I quite like Jermaine Jones. I mean, he doesn't really stack up in terms of like greatest Indigenous Eagles players or anything like that, but I think I'm just going through the current team in my head right now. Jermaine Jones is good. I believe Brockman's Indigenous. I believe he's also Maori. I think he might be both. P. Kakamanis was insanely good. Yeah, true. Did he win a Brownlow? I don't think he did. Wait, who won 2001? Did he win 2001? I want to say Crawford 99. When was Wanganeen? Wanganeen might have been earlier than that. Simon Black was 02. That was when I started watching. So it's Black in 02. 03 was the draws. Judd 04. Cuz 05. Goods 06. Winmar. That's a good shout. That was before my time. He did win a Brownlow, did he, Joyce? Yeah, I'm going to guess 2000 or 2001. Maybe 2001. If I had to guess. I forgot about Tim Kelly. How did I forget about like the best Indigenous player we have at the moment? Yeah, good point. There you go. Thank you, Lily. You are a stats machine. Did he also win a Norm? Who won the 02 Norm? I remember he kicked the winning goal in 02. Brisbane won it by 9 points. Wanganeen was 93, was it? Oh my god, that was way before I thought. I thought it was late 90s for some reason. There you go. Brockman could be anything. That's good. I've just sort of got no expectations with Brockman just because I just didn't know that much about him. But I've been pleased to see how many Hawthorn fans are like, nah, he's good. He's good. That being said, a lot of Carlton fans thought the same thing about Petrevsky-Seton when we got him. They were like, oh, hopefully we get pick 6 for SBS. You guys have got a good one. Thanks. No, he wasn't too bad. But he just wasn't quite cutting the mustard. Yes, good call. Buckley was the winner, so I just got to plug my laptop in. Yeah. That Buckley one was famous because it was one of the last ones where the loser won the Norm Smith. I think Judd in 05, and then has it happened since then? I don't think it happened since Judd in 05. Is 6 wins too much to ask for West Coast? I don't think that's too much to ask. I think that's possible. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I think I'd back us to get 6. If you're putting me in, hopeful pre-season Eagle mode, then 6 wins I think is achievable, yeah. Dogs should sack Bevo, make Bond captain coach. Ginnivan's annoying, to answer your question, Lucas, but around the stream, excuse me. I got a little bit of life in me left. We've been going for 2 hours, probably another half hour at least. I suppose it kind of depends how this game goes as well. I'm like half watching it. I'll commit to half an hour and see how we're going after that. There was no real intention with this, other than just have a bit of a yarn. I'm hungry again. Sam Whiteman's into the lineup. Brother of the lead singer of Great Gable. I'm full of fun facts. 2 for 42. This game has got a bit of light juice to it. There's certainly somewhat close. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion. I agree, Joycey. I also think the hate's a bit strong on Hinkley. It's just disproportionate. Who's the best looking player in the AFL? It probably is Bailey Smith, to give you a cliche answer. Perkins, not a bad shout. Lipinski, pretty good looking fella. Thanks, Lucas. No worries. Might catch in a bit. Are you serious? Is Norton actually playing as a midfielder? That can't be right. No, I didn't. Bomber Hill. I didn't see Caddy's hanger. Where can I find that? Is that on Essendon's? I don't follow Essendon on Instagram, but. Oh, here we go. Yeah, here we go. Damn! Nice. It's funny that Merritt's reaction. Merritt's playing the opposite team. Merritt's just pissed off. It was a great mark. Far out. This kid might be good, eh? No, Caddy. He will be good, I reckon. Cripps? Ooh, no, I don't know if Cripps is, like, super good looking. He's pretty good looking, I'd say. He's really got those, like, cheekbones, I noticed. Since he, like, leaned out and became, like, an elite athlete. Like, his features are very pronounced. So I see it, but probably not ever. Paul Curtis, best looking player. I need to Google Paul Curtis's face. I kind of forgotten. I can picture it vaguely in my head, but never noticed if he was good looking. I would describe him as handsome. Not greatest of all time, but Quaynor, maybe. Quaynor's not a bad shout. Matthew Delaney. He's a very handsome fella. And he's got some drip as well, which helps. I do find like sometimes it's not even about like how good the clothes you wear are, but sometimes it's just the confidence with which you wear them and how individualistic you are. Like, you probably couldn't be ridiculous. But I feel like if Quaynor started rocking like a rainbow onesie all the time, eventually people would be like, yeah, nice drip, bro. Clayton Oliver, yes. Machito Owens, not a bad shout, Lily. Yeah, good looking fella. Why does this always descend to how hot AFL players are? Like, it's always the live stream. Ooh, Joycey reminds us that Jack Steele probably is the best looking. Good point. Good point. Bailey Smith's got the eyes. So he might just have Steele, but I don't know. Maybe not. It's all very subjective, isn't it? Norton on the ball. That is weird. Surely that's just messing around. Ooh, Whiteman looks like he's hit that pretty well. Oh! The striker's getting on top here. God damn it. I thought he actually middled that pretty alright, Whiteman. Yeah, Caddy does look pretty impressive. Maybe he will play early. Maybe they just play him higher up the ground. They've got a few pieces to sort of shuffle in that forward line, Essendon. Yeah, right. Just responding to Disink's comment. Interesting. Be good to see him early. I liked him. Norton should be defender. I don't know if they'd pay $1 million a year for a defender. Should AFL be like the NBA where they wear suits? Probably not. I probably wouldn't go that far. Yeah, the strikers are in the box seat. Up against AFL player. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. He's played against like senior bodies before, right? Like he played VFL last year. Caddy. They've been trying to hold Caddy back a bit. Yeah. Which all-time footy players or coaches would you have to join you to talk about how to win a flag? Nat Fife, Matthew Pavlich. Just kidding. Tell you what, I feel like Sam Mitchell would be an interesting guy. He's the first one that comes to mind. Probably John Worsfold as well. Malthouse comes to mind too. I just picked 3 coaches. And Shuey, because I love him. Will Petch become a gun? Is that another wicket? Fuck. This game is descended. I don't think he'll become a gun, but I think he could... Well, it depends how you define gun. He could be like a little clever little role player that we like to have. I think there's some potential as an AFL player for Petch. Oh, that was Hardy too. My God, it wasn't even a good ball. It was a fucking Yorker from a leggy. Caddy's dad was an absolute psycho. Yeah, right. Yeah, he's Josh's nephew as well, right? Marshall isn't in full contact training. Are we talking about Rowan or Todd? Oh, is it really 3 weeks away that the Don's taking the cat? I'll tell you what, I've done a great job of getting through this off season, like emotionally, because 3 weeks to me, that's exciting. I feel like maybe it's because I've been making videos. I don't feel like the off season's been going that long. Reece Shaw, interesting. No NFL team for me. I am behind. I think it's a combination of, for whatever reason, it's just a little bit laggy here, but also the stream's going to have a little bit of delay too. Luke Ablett, Mitch Morton, Shane Mumford, and Nick Fosdyke. Mitch Morton. Yeah, I remember him being... Obviously, he played for us. He was a father-son for us, I think. Maybe not. Noel Morton played in the Waffle. I can't remember if we got him through father-son and they changed the rules so we didn't get Kale. Although Kale came to play for us anyway. I had forgotten about that. That's probably one of the most obscure obscure Eagles cameos I've ever seen. Like Cal Morton just coming in for 2 games in 2013. So random. I just forgot it happened. Oh, it's not in the 3 weeks, is it? God damn. Yeah, when is the preseason? Does West Coast have any father-sons? I don't think so. Like, no one of note. Bailey Banfield was eligible this year. Yes, same name as the Freo player, but not the same bloke. Drew Banfield's son. When is the preseason? I need to know specifics now. It's getting close. I think the strikers are... Yeah, they do, Joycey. Yeah. Who do you reckon the biggest farter is at West Coast and Fremantle? Sean Darcy comes to mind. Um, to answer your question, Peter, no, I would actually kind of like to see a showdown grand final at the MCG or a derby grand final at the MCG. I think that'd be kind of cool. I think if you put it at Optus or Adelaide Oval, it wouldn't feel like a showdown or a derby. Secured her in 3 weeks. Thought it was the Cats first. Okay. It's not a bad video idea, Lily. Father sons on the horizon. I should probably put some time and research that and then make a video about it. For the first time in forever, this might be a very even derby. Oh, I don't know. I don't think so, to be honest. We did have some good derbies over the years. Like, not many, but some. Although there has been times where it should have been even and it's still been a belting one way or the other. Shannon. Hot naan. Just bread. Carby. Liam Ryan would let them rip. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Who's likely to be the grossest eagle in that sense? I feel like Harley Reid would slap a few out of there. I don't know if I'd make a video about the top 10 best looking players. I'll talk about it on the stream, but making a video about it's a little bit... How you going? A showdown grand final would be sick. It would be seriously sick. I would hate a derby grand final. But, yeah. Hayden Young going to keep Harley Reid at full disposal. You reckon he'll be tagging the 18-year-old? Noah Carosella. Is he? I've never even heard of that. I know the Camperiolis are probably going to be first rounders. There's also a Louis Montgomery from Port. He's a father-son for them. I think there's another Burgoyne for Port. McGovern for sure. Oh, yeah, good point, Josh. What about the derby when Dale Kickett started throwing punches? Yeah, that was like 2000, I think. The Demolition Derby. That was before my time because I lived overseas. Gold Coast versus GWS Grand Final. I mean, I think it'd be kind of cool because then you get like at least one of them's going to win a flag. I think I'd at least like to see new premiers. Yeah. Is the father of Blake Carousel. That'd be ironic. Imagine you could draft the father because the son played. That'd be cool. Yeah, Showdown Grand Final would be nuts. I know it won't have the same bite as a Showdown, but I think an all-Sydney Grand Final would be pretty fascinating too. And that could happen this year. Imagine that. Sydney GWS Grand Final. That'd be kind of cool. I'd like to see a non-Victorian Grand Final, like a fully interstate Grand Final, at least for 1 year. What about a video on all the AFL players that have crashed into multiple parked cars? Who is that again? Who has done that? Was it Lucky Hunter? Lucky Hunter do something? He did something like around drink driving. I remember that. Or was it Clary? Is that the reference I'm missing, is it? I forget the specifics. Sydney Grand Final. You think that's optimistic, Drewzy? Like, when Sydney made the 22 Grand Final and GWS missed the 23 Grand Final by 1 point. I mean at the MCG. I'm not talking about having it in Sydney. I just think Sydney versus GWS as a Grand Final would be pretty fascinating. Dogs GWS, yeah, true. Do they still hate each other, Moon Landing? Sydney versus West Coast Part 2. Except no goods, no cousins. I mean, yeah, if my team's in the grand final, I'm happy. But, like, since that era, we've beaten Sydney, like, twice. Then they have annihilated us a lot. Demolition Derby was a grand final. Yeah. I think the derbies lack some bite. Like, I think it doesn't feel like the players hate each other. But I think part of that is the fact that they're not super competitive with each other because they've swung around each other. Like, there's always been a heavy favourite. But if we have one year where the Eagles and Dockers are like say this next generation of Eagles rises quickly and Fremantle's in the mix and we're playing for a home final, then I feel like those could get feisty. That's probably what the Showdowns had over the Derby for the last 15 years. Oh, is that right, Graz? Yeah, right, sick. Taylor Adams to be the best pickup. It's not a bad unpopular opinion. I don't know if it's super unpopular. I think it makes sense. I'm sorry, I keep moving my body posture and therefore the camera needs to move with me too. West Coast versus Adelaide grand final. Hey, you didn't mention shapes in that one. I've planned my entire Euro trip, so I'm in London to watch the Swans flag. I'm uber confident. Yeah, right. Is that where you want to be, Heath? I presume so. Ooh. I mean, there are worse places to watch a grand final, but I wouldn't want to watch my own team in a grand final in London. It's a good question to sink. The honest answer is probably not. Probably not. I don't think I really care about Anzac Day. And I was actually thinking about this like a week or two ago. I don't think I have really an appreciation for how big some of those games are. There's a lot of just like Victorian football culture that us West Australians don't fully understand. I think I'd have to go to one. I think I'd also have to go to a big Carlton Collingwood game to really feel it. You know, like 90,000 people. I'd rather be in London than Malta. Yeah, fair point. Fair point. Best alcoholic beverage? Probably Luke. I don't know. I'm a beer drinker, but if I'm on a night out, I'll usually go whiskey. Bit of scotch. Derby's aren't as built up media-wise in Vic as the Showdown is. Interesting. Joycey's thinking Billings to Dees has potential. I've heard he's burning up the track. Might have a bit of a new lease on life. Should Western Australia have its own Anzac Day game? We have a Len Hall match, which I think Fremantle has. I don't think it's actually on Anzac Day, though. There's only ever one game on Anzac Day, isn't there? Nah, I don't think it needs to change. It's a fair point, Bomber. Yeah, I feel like I need to go to an Anzac Day game. No, Heath, it's not just because of the pun. It's like implying that he's an alcoholic. I thought there was a little bit of substance to that. It was kind of funny. He's my favourite alcoholic beverage. Drewzy is tier barbecue shape, pizza shape, or chicken crimpy. Oh, he's definitely chicken crimpy. I have no idea which one is the best or the worst one out of those. Yeah, true, Josh. I can imagine. That would almost be like a grand final. Which grand final did you go to sync? Oh, it's another wicket. This game is not good, and it's English too. I think that might be the game changer. Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, that would have been a decent pickup for Freo too. Yeah, fair point on Bont there, Moon. Abdullah Shaker. Yeah, either you or somebody else asked this question earlier. I think I'd probably say Collingwood. The grand final atmosphere isn't as good because of the corporates and neutrals. Yeah, I've heard that, but I've been to I've been to 3 grand finals, and they're all unreal. So I wouldn't say it's not as good, but then again, I don't have a frame of reference like Carlton versus Collingwood. Like, I don't know how that is. Same thing with Anzac Day. So not fully qualified. Got 55 likes, guys. Thank you very much. If there's anyone who is watching and enjoying the stream, if you could chuck a like on it, would be muchos apreciados. Will the 2007 grand final record be broken? No, I hope not for a while, but we've seen some beltings in grand finals. Heath. Like, since that 07 one, we've seen... we saw 89 in 2019, and then 70 or something in 21. And then 80... What was the 22 grand final? 80 something? 81? 80? Can't remember. So, yeah, there's teams flirting with it, but I'll probably say not for a good while yet. It just shouldn't happen, grand finals like that. 2 as a normal fan. Yeah, right. That's good. That's good to know. I'd imagine it'd be really hard to get to a Anzac Day game. Showdowns in 2013, yeah. I don't really remember, but I remember that Wingard era. He looked like he was going to be like Gary Ablett Jr. Thanks, Valentino. Appreciate it, mate. Thanks for stopping by. For the first time since 1823 produced a brilliant grand final. Although the shit team won yet. Yeah, it was a good grand final. Yeah, I feel like we had a series of really good grand finals. 08 was good, 09, 10, 11 was good, 12 was good. 13 was okay. It was a bit more dour. And even though Fremantle kind of came back and made it close, it wasn't super exciting. But it also wasn't a belting. A lot of people would sort of reflect on that. Even Freo fans would be like, oh yeah. Yeah, we got belted, but it was like 15 points. It wasn't terrible though. 14 was a belting, 15 belting. 16 was good. It was a good game. Heath will disagree with that, but it was a good game of footy. Dogs GWS prelim. Yeah. Greatest game of the modern era is a big call, but it was very good. North Melbourne versus Hawthorn grand final. 5 years. Clarkson shows Mitchell his greatest curse. Imagine that. That's a fair point, Heath. Yeah. I still find the atmosphere was good at that grand final. I think even if you're a neutral, you're still going to roar. Like, if something sick happens. Everyone picks a team on grand final day, so... I agree, Abdullah. More than 20 teams would probably be a bit much. I'd agree with that. Private reasons. It was a stunning game. I remember that. I think I got pretty shit-faced. Should we make the Eagles all-time great team? And if so, where does he play? G'day, Jacob. I don't know if he does. Just because the midfield has just been so deep. Maybe. So like this Judd Cousins-Kerr walk into the team. And then there's the guys like before my era, like Kemp and Mainwaring. Was Shuey better than Mainwaring? I genuinely don't know. I'm a big fan, but like Kemp, I'm not too sure. Oh, catch. Yeah, Brooklyn says Scorchers are whomping. Yeah, they've bottled this. They're out. 6 down and less than half the score. 13 was a frustrating game. Freo didn't capitalise and there was no sense of shifting momentum. Agreed, Fitz. That's probably a good way of summing it up. Yeah. But they didn't disgrace themselves either. My 2 favourite derbies. Strong winner, yeah. Hazelby's game winner. That was 06, I remember that. That was the first derby of 06. My favourite derbies. I want to say maybe the first one of 2011 was good. Because we were wooden spooners the year before and underdogs. The one in 19 where people were saying like Fremantle had overtaken West Coast and we won that game by like 90 points, 91 points. That was also a favourite. I don't know if WA would really grow the game either, Heath. Where would you put the third team in Sydney? I am just going to get some water, guys. I'll be back in a minute. Talk amongst yourselves. Jacob, I remember you saying that to me before. I don't remember that. I don't remember talking to babes in Freo. That's the part I don't remember. Outside Freo Oval. What is the bar outside Freo Oval? You sure that was me? I don't remember it being... I think I know the one you mean. Is it Freo Social? Is that the one you mean? Is it that the one? Yeah. I don't remember being there. 15 years older. I don't think you're 15 years older than me, Jacob, are you? I'm born in 93. Perth Stadium is quiet. Yeah, you're right, Daniel. I suppose you're right, Heath. Like, if considering how big that market is. But, like, you'd feel like they'd need a geographic angle. Like, the Swans are Sydney generally, obviously, and South Melbourne to some extent. But, and then GWS has the western suburbs. Is it like an untapped part of Sydney? I know you just said you're not from Sydney. It was more of a rhetorical question. Newcastle or Canberra? So Canberra is kind of also captured by GWS, so you need to be mindful of that, not to cannibalise them. But yeah, Newcastle maybe. Wollongong? Probably too small. 1000% was definitely me, was it? I mean, I feel like... Oh, he's out. Oh my god, this is terrible. I was going out. I feel like the last time I read that comment from you, you said it was around 2020. I did go out a little bit around that period. The one with the underground dance area and upstairs area too literally shares a fence with the oval. I'm actually trying to picture where that is. Underground dance area. Upstairs area too. I can't picture the place. I do believe you. I'm just trying to picture it. Some blurry nights in Fremantle around that era. Northern team. It's a fair point, Jonas. If you could capture all those, I just think all those areas are so far apart it would be difficult to sustain that. Tyson says Taranto's been forgotten by everyone, extremely stiff. In what context? When we're talking about who the best midfielders of the game are, or like Richmond's chances, or both? 7 for 78. What's the chances Connolly can do something mad? I'd say next to 0. Second Tasmanian team. It's not the worst shout. I don't know. I mean, not immediately. Like, you know, they need to get the first one set up. But at least it's a footballing state. But again, you're probably cannibalising. I understand there's a north and south divide there, so hopefully they're just going to be called the Tassie Devils, though. They're not going to be called Hobart, as far as I can tell. You wouldn't have like the Hobart Devils and the Launceston Rovers. I'd imagine. I wear a hat too much. Does wearing a hat thin your hair? I should stop wearing it so much. Is that another wicket? Ooh. Yeah, hungry. Suns, North and Sugar should merge at the Tassie. Is the league getting too diluted is a fair question. We're seeing less kids get drafted, but I think that's due to list sizes. We wish they would expand the list sizes a little bit. But the talent pool should be increasing anyway, especially with all these like academies. Like in theory, that doesn't improve the talent pool. Oh, is that right? Name and jumper announcement. Yeah. Cool. That'd be good to see. That's not far away, actually. What colour is the new Tassie team going to be? I swear I remember seeing green. I think it'd be a bit of a miss if there's no green in it. I think it would have to be primarily green. Green and gold, I would have thought. Given there's no green team. Fremantle lost their green in like, what, 2011? 2011? Yeah. Yeah, surely they were green. Will this size get cut back? I don't think so, but I was just thinking then in my head where most of my thinking happens. It already went from like 38 on the main list to 36. Or 38/40 to 36/38. And they haven't brought it back post-COVID. And I wonder if that is anything to do with the talent pool situation. And nah, that doesn't make sense. Like, they wouldn't do that for Tassie. Tassie will have a bigger list. Ty said 4. I don't know if that's a serious question, Peter. I don't think a Darwin team would go alright, to be honest. I think they would struggle to keep players. It would really need to be comprised mostly of Northern Territory talent, and I don't know if that would sustain a football team. But I don't think you'd struggle getting your Harley Reeds and your Colby McKerchers to stay there, I reckon. When they have the prospect of Melbourne. I'm not dissing Darwin as such, it's just we got to think about it through the lens of like an 18-year-old kid. Ooh, another boundary. Stuff Tom Brady. Yeah, I don't know enough about NFL to comment. Should clash a team with the under 18 State Devils. Maybe. See, I think Fremantle and Port have better jumpers these days than they used to. There's 5 overs left in this game, and that's probably going to be the duration of this stream. Most likely. Darwin was a hole when I grew up there. There you go. Interesting. According to all my friends who remain there, it's gone backwards. Oh, okay, fair enough. I'd heard the opposite. But I wonder if it's a bit like Bunbury, where I'm from, where it's like certain parts of Bunbury are horrid, and then other parts of Bunbury are absolutely beautiful, and it kind of just it's all about context. That's probably the case with Darwin, if I had to guess. I think the Gold Coast need to sort of try and keep up a bit of a presence there in the medium term. Drafting rookie rules. When Judd left for Carlton, didn't a rookie have to stay for at least 5 years? I don't know if that's true, is it? First time hearing. Ooh. Connolly says 6. Is there a silly chance Connolly does something stupid in this game and wins? I love the 80s vibe of the WA teams. They were unique. 80s vibe? Do you mean like West Coast in the 80s? Or do you mean... I mean, because Freo came in 95, right? That was their first season anyway. I had a friend that lived in Bunbury when we were kids. It was a hole. Yeah, but I think that's true, but I've also like got family down there. When I go there, they just like... They live in a nice part of town. They got a nice house. And... like going out for breakfast and going to the beach. Like it is a nice place. There are nice parts of it, but it's also got a few social problems. So I experienced both because I went to a bit of a rough school for a couple of years there, and had some friends that were cool people that I liked. But I think if I'd stayed there any longer, I would have run into some trouble. You think Lukosius is Gold Coast's best player? You think he's better than Took Miller? Noah Anderson? I do like Lukosius, but I don't know if he's earned that yet. Oh, Ty has just been completely castled. That might be the game. I mean, it was already kind of game, but now it's extra game. Gold Coast has such a bad jumper. It's not great. Yeah. Free barbecue shapes. I think that would be the ultimate thing that got it across the line, to be honest. Narrowly avoided fights with locals. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a weird vibe going out in Bunbury. It is a different... Yeah, the nightlife's not great, I will say that. Actually, it's not really dissimilar to going out here in Macclesfield. a little bit of a rough vibe. There's a constant threat. Forget about to have Melbourne problems with the rucks. Should have traded Darcy out. I don't know. I think they're different enough. Like, I think Luke Jackson can have the freedom to be a forward half player. I don't know. I'm not saying it's definitely going to work, but I don't think Jackson needs to be the number one man there. Oh yeah? Who's that, Bomber Hill? Never went out at night. I was 13. This was 20 years ago. Oh yeah, there you go. This is probably my sort of era. You're probably a little bit older than me. Yeah. I've been back there to go out a few times. Sasquatch Freo and I had a night out there that was very interesting in like 2018. Oh, what a peach first ball from Goat. I just read Pat Kaz's comment at the same second. That was a great run. Scorchers out. Scorchers have really flopped in the last like 4 games. We lost like 3 of the last 4 or something. 3 of the last 5 maybe. Great ball though. Used to play with Stephen Mollop. There you go. Clearly desync. Clearly. Who did I play with? I played cricket with Sam Whiteman. That's my claim to fame. I have not noticed that, Heath. Although Freo changed their logo in 2011. We changed it actually the same year we won the premiership. So it was all 2018. But there also has been... Well, the Demons also changed their logo, Heath. I'm not sure what year. But then also so did Essendon. So did the Power. I think most clubs have changed their logos. Nash King. I've heard that name before. 2024 draft? I've heard that name before. I don't know why. Definitely read it in like a draft report. Connolly just needs to hit 9 sixes. He's hit 1. Fair play. Wish they have had some more Guernseys. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes the weird Guernseys piss me off in Premier League. Like Liverpool just randomly wearing like orange or purple. I'm just like, it doesn't feel like I'm watching Liverpool. Security need to change their logo, yeah. Yeah, it'd probably be worth looking into, Heath. I'm trying to think, well, the teams changed their logo. Well, Brisbane went paddle pop for a while, but then they changed it back, didn't they? No, their logo's still paddle pop, but they changed their jumper back. Oh, wow. I think he's caught that. Worth reviewing, but I'm pretty sure he's caught that. Port of the exception. And Fremantle. And Essendon. Although, to be fair, Essendon might have only had an anniversary logo. I don't know if that counts. I don't know if they kept it. This is one of the worst batting displays I've ever seen. Yeah. Yeah. Shitty way to end the tournament. I might stream the final. Depending on when it is. Probably be Sydney in the heat. Peter. Fair point. You make a fair point. They did make the grand final a few years later. Generally 3 teams fall out of the 8. 3 most likely teams. If I had to say most likely, I think Melbourne, St Kilda. I don't know, it's hard after that. I wouldn't really bet on St Kilda missing out either. Yeah, it's definitely a catch. I haven't seen that logo yet. Desync. I'll figure it out. I'll find it. There you go. Well, it's not officially a cricket live stream, but I was pretty much going to stream the game, which is now over, so I might wrap up this stream fairly soon, guys. But thank you very much for joining me. This has been fun. These are always fun with you guys. I'll probably do another one, maybe for the final. Yeah, that's probably what I'll do. Streams are good fun to pass the time and yarn. So thank you very much once again for joining me. I hope you've all had fun. And yeah, got some videos coming out. And I'll probably do a stream in the next week, probably, realistically. But yeah, thank you very much, guys. And I will see you in the next one. Thanks, Bomber Hill. Thanks, Josh. Take care. They are gone, North Melbourne fan. Excuse me. But yeah, take care, guys. I'll see you in the next one.